Good morning, everyone. In the continuation of our business statistics lectures, when we have already discussed about measures of central tendency, dispersion, correlation. Now, moving further, let us discuss about something related to the last lecture, which was about correlation. What was correlation? Correlation was about the degree of relationship between two or more variables. In that lecture, we understood that there could be three types of degree of relationship between two or more variables. It could be positive degree relationship, it could be negative degree relationship, or it could be a no relationship. What if we know the relationship between two variables x and y, that it is a positive relationship, it's a high positive correlationship, and we know the value of x, which is, let's take an example, it's 100. Then what could be the tentative value of y when x is 100? That answer cannot be determined with the help of correlation. For that purpose, we need another tool. So basically, our subject is business statistics. We cannot stop when we know the relationship between two or more variables. We have to go further. We have to know the estimated value of the variable when the another variable's value is known. For that purpose, we have a tool which is known as regression. The statistical method used in studying the relationship between two or more variables is known as regression. In simple words, we can say that regression is nothing but the estimated relationship. When we know the value of one variable, we can determine the value of another variable. Because managerial decision making is divided into two parts. One is quantitative decision and second one is qualitative decision. We cannot have a control on qualitative decisions solely because it totally depends upon your gut feeling, your experience. But when we talk about quantitative relationship, yeah, quantitative decisions, it is totally depends upon mathematical models and statistical models and analysis of them. And on the basis of that, we do interpretations. Better the interpretation, better will be our decision. So, learning and regression is not only the objective, to understand the interpretation of them is also an important task. Basically, regression is divided into two parts. First one is simple linear regression, and second one is multiple regression. What is simple regression? Simple linear regression is about two variables. One could be dependent variable and second one could be an independent variable. But when we talk about multiple regression, it is about one dependent variable which is dependent on so many multiple variables, multiple independent variables. So that's why we call it multiple regression, and simple linear regression shows a linear relationship, or we can say a simple relationship between two variables only. As I already shared that there are two variables, one is dependent variable and second one is independent variable. So dependent variables are those variables which are dependent on solely independent variables. Let's take an example. We know from the beginning of our learning age that speed is equals to distance upon time, and distance is a fixed element. We can say it's constant. That's 300 kilometers. So time is totally dependent upon what? Speed. If we increase our speed, time will decrease. And if we'll decrease our speed, time will increase. So there is a direct relationship between, there is an inverse relationship between speed and this time, where time is a dependent variable and speed is an independent variable. In linear equation, when we talk about, so we'll discuss about simple linear regression in our lecture. So simple linear regression can be determined with the help of two methods. One is regression coefficient method and the another one is least square method. But both of them will give us a line equation or a equation of straight line. In the initial learning stages of school education, we used to call it y is equals to mx plus c, which is now used to be called as y is equals to ax plus b. Same slope, same intercept, everything would be same. But A regression will give a relationship or a equation of a straight line between two variables, dependent and independent variable. There are few more examples where you can understand that there is not a compulsion that one have to be independent and one have to be dependent. When we talk about a regression coefficient method, we can determine x when y is given. We can determine y when x is given. The example for this is the husband's and wife's age. If you know the age of wife, you can determine the tentative age of husband. And if you know the tentative age of wife, you can determine the age of husband. So there could be a both side relationship between this in this case also. And there are another examples for this pizza parlor. So if you have a business of pizza and your sales is totally depend upon the young generation crowd nearby your area, or we can say the students gentry. So the number of students residing in your area will affect your sales. So here the sales variable would be your dependent variable, and the number of students residing in that area would become your independent variable. As the number of students will increase, your pizza sales will increase. As the number of students residing in that area will decrease, your sales will decrease. In economics, we have different application of this same model, which is known as consumption function. As your consumption totally depends upon two factors. One is your fixed consumption, and another one is a variable consumption. Variable consumption increases as your income increases. But fixed consumption, that is roti, kapda, makan, will always remain same even at your zero income. So, in the next lecture series, we will learn the practical aspects of all these things. What is slope, what is intercept, and how we could develop an equation between all these variables, and how this consumption function works, and how we can develop these equations with the help of given data. So let's keep the day over here now. Thank you all. Thank you so much.